Okay, thank you guys again for being on tonight. I am very excited to have just you guys and to pour into you guys. There's so much to go over, and every moment of it I hope will be beneficial. Some of it you may already know, some of it hopefully will be educational, and maybe we can all take a real good look at ourselves. There's going to be things that you really, really, really love me for with what I'm going to say, and there's going to be things that you're like, she talking to me? So just to kind of put things into perspective, I just got a message from my mom. She and I and the kids went to a hotel this weekend, and I took a picture of her in a bathing suit on the beach, and I just thought she looked really beautiful in that moment, and I wanted to take a picture. It's going to make me cry. And I just saw her hair and everything. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Men, plug your ears. It's that time of the month, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so I took this picture of her on Saturday, and she sent me a text just a little bit ago and said, "Did you take that picture of me because you wanted me to see how bad my legs look?" And I didn't notice that about her. But last week was my birthday, and I went to lunch that day with Samantha, who is also in our team. She's been a friend of mine for years now. And so she had grabbed my phone and surprised me when they came to sing happy birthday. I really didn't think that that was going to happen. So she was recording me while they were singing happy birthday. And after I got into the car, I was looking at this recording. And honest to God, you guys, I couldn't believe myself. Like, I am the heaviest right now that I've ever been in my entire adult life, unless I was carrying a baby. So when I saw myself in this recording, I was thinking to myself, did she just do that? Like, that was her subtle way of telling me, hey, you need to get yourself in check. But really, that's not what she was doing. Just like that's not what I was doing with my mom when I took a picture of her. So when I go through some of the things that I tell you guys, it's not to call you out. It's not because I'm talking directly to you. It is just an across the board thing. And I say it out of love, okay? I don't ever want to be critical of people. And some things when I say this stuff, when I talk about like follow through and stuff, some of you guys will probably laugh because there's been times where you guys have waited for me to follow through. Okay, so I am no angel. I'm not perfect. I will never claim to be perfect. I am the first person probably in here to admit when I have been at fault or when I am at fault, or where I fall short. So with all that being said, and my sniffles going away and the tears going away. So first thing, I have a lot of notes here. I have 2 pages of notes, so I might be looking down from time to time. So most of you guys in here have grown really, really fast through the ranks. This team is 1 year old. We just hit a year old in July, so that means everybody in here is 1 year and 1 month or less. And for you guys to all be at 12K or higher is a huge accomplishment, whether you realize that or not, even if you have dropped rank. Okay, so what? That happens. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen to your team too. And now the cool thing is that you can relate when your team comes to you and they're like, I can't believe it. I'm failing. My team's disappearing. My rank, I don't know what's happening to my numbers. I don't know like what's happening, everything, the company, whatever. Now you can say, hey, you know what? Totally understand what's going on. I know how you feel. I've been there before. But the thing is, you just don't go out and post to your page randomly, hey guys, I know I hit 40K last month, but this month we're barely even going to hit 30K. Like, you just don't do that. You don't want to do that. But you do want to be able to relate to people on a personal level when they come to you with a concern. So growing fast isn't supposed to happen in this. This isn't a get rich quick thing. You guys know that, or you say you know that, but you also at the same time are saying, well, I don't know what's happening. I hit 12K on day 2, and now I'm sitting at 40K, and I can't get to 80, and actually I can't even maintain 40. So let's put things in perspective. Some of you guys know this, some of you don't. With It Works, it took me 1 whole year to hit 4K, what is considered 4K over there. And that was with a runner. That was with Rachel Parks, who was already way ahead of me in a very high-ranked leadership role with that company. So all of that was contributing, and it took me a year still to hit 4K with that company. It took me 2 whole years to get where all of you guys are right now, to get to 12K. 2 years. So let's take a second and really assess, like, okay, cool. Like, you guys are at 12K or higher, where it took me, what it took me 2 years to get to. So think about 5 years, or even like my 3rd year. That's when I really broke 6 figures, was my 3rd year in that company. So imagine where you guys will be on year 2, year 3, year 4. It's crazy. So the same people that got you guys to 4K and the same promoters that got you guys to 12K will probably not be, let me rephrase that. The same people that got you to 4K and 12K, unless you hit 80K and 200K overnight within the same month, those people that got you 4K, 12K will not be the same people that get you to 80 and 200. Your team's gonna look a whole lot different by the time you get to 80 and 200. So when people are dropping off, or you're bringing people in, or the momentum is different, or your runners became walkers, or your walkers became runners, that is all to be expected. It's gonna happen, and that is normal. If you have an issue in your team, if there's drama, if there's whatever the case is, go up and don't go down. We've talked about this before, but it truly spreads like wildfire, like cancer. It is toxic to your team. No matter how good of friends you are with that person, that you think that you guys have this rapport, that you can just share, you know what, I don't really like that so-and-so said this, or I don't like how they handled this or did that or posted this. Like, bite it and just go up, because you will affect your team directly and indirectly by going to your downline. So if you don't like the person directly above you, or you feel like you don't get along that well, then find somebody else above them. You will be able to find someone, because we have tons of amazing leaders and they can help you. It's not to sit around and listen to the drama on the phone for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. It is literally to be constructive, like, hey, this is a situation. I don't know how to handle it. What should I do? And that's even if it's with your upline. If it's my enroller, I'm going to go to the next person, whatever. So same for you guys. Your downline or your upline, always go up. Please, please, please remember that. Also with your teams, you guys, please make sure that, this has happened with me personally. It's happened within the team. If you say you're going to do something for someone, or you say you're going to do something for their team or your entire team, whatever, please follow through. So like I said, I'm not always perfect. And there's times where I say, hey guys, do this, like whoever wins, whatever, you get a package of Burn, or you get a Thrive hat, whatever. And I don't send it out the next day. I hate going to the post office, and that is my own issue. I usually wait till I have like 3 packages or more than just that one package to go to the post office and ship it out. And Tiffany, if you're on here, I know you've waited for your hat for a long time. There's other people who have waited. Liz, I know you've waited for stuff for me. Whoever else, like you guys have, and thank you. Thank you for being patient. But the thing is, I get it out. You will receive it. But if it's money or something, like that takes 2 seconds to do on PayPal. Like just go and do it. If you need to wait till the next payday, just make sure people know that. Just don't let them feel like you completely forgot about them. So follow through is really important. If you're running a team promotion, like for somebody to hit a rank or something, and you're like, hey, this is what I have to offer you guys. Or like, let's say I go to Taryn, and let's say Taryn is going for a rank, and I say, hey, if you want to run this promotion, like let's say it's the last day of the month, and I message her in the morning, hey, you want to run this promotion? Anybody who buys an $800 package or whatever the case is, I'll give $100 back. So if I say that and Taryn runs that promotion that day, and I've told her it is for that day only, or I only have 8 spots for that to be available, I have to hold my word. Like I have to be accountable to that. Otherwise, Taryn would lose total respect for me. So if you guys are doing things like that, please, or in the future, please make sure that you follow through with that, because it just does not look good on you as a leader or as a person to not do that. Like nobody wants that, obviously. Oh, going back to the growing fast is not normal. I think, and I am pretty positive that this is legit for most of you guys on here. So obviously we said it's not normal, but I think what happens, I'm pretty sure I kind of am confident in this, try not to be so booby. What happens is that people think that because they grew fast, everybody should grow fast. Like, if you're not growing, or if you're at a rank for more than 2 months or 5 months or 6, 8, whatever months, you feel like you're failing. Or if you drop a rank, you feel like you're failing. Or if your team isn't growing as fast as you grew, or as your upline grew, you feel like this is like not going to work. And that's just not how it goes. So just because it came so fast for you, because it came so fast for whoever, it's not supposed to be like that. And if we create that mindset, not only for ourselves, but for our team, they're going to get burnt out, and they are also going to start feeling that way. There are 3 different kinds of people in our business, and there's 80% of the people in your team that literally, they just want to have fun. They just want to belong to something. They just want to be a part of excitement. They want to be celebrated, and maybe they just joined Le-Vel to get free product or to make a couple $100. And that's totally fine. But we need to know that that 80% of people doesn't want to be pushed. It's helpful to know who your promoters are, or who your potentials are, because an 80%er wants to know that they can get free product, but they don't want to know about, like, you have to get on 3-way calls. You have to make sure if you sign somebody up, we got to get on a 3-way call today. Understand who you're talking to. The second person is a 15%er. They are somebody who wants to come in, make some good money, but they don't want to quit their job. Like, they want to come in and get busy, like do some hustle, but they're not looking to be a 6-figure earner, okay? And you'll know how to direct and how to guide that person too. The 5%ers are probably a good number of us, the people who want to make 6 figures. If you're on here, you're probably either a 15%er, well, you guys are 15%ers or 5%ers. 5%ers want to make 6 figures. This is all they want to do. They live, breathe, and everything Le-Vel. And those people, obviously, they are pushers. So whether it's somebody like Taryn personally doesn't necessarily want to be pushed, okay? Somebody else who is a 5%er may want to be pushed. Just figure out your people. But Taryn may go for something like, hey, if you hit this goal, I'll do this. Like, it's a personal goal for her. So figure out your people and how to work with them, because you will push people away very quickly if you are pushing a 80%er to do something that a 6-figure mentality would want. Hopefully that, I'm pretty sure that makes sense. But let's talk about the 80%ers, because that is the majority of our business. How do we keep those people around, and how do we keep them inspired and motivated if they're just doing this kind of for fun and to belong? Definitely, you want to make people feel good despite their desire level. So all of those, the 80, 15, and 5%, those are all desire levels. Despite whatever level they are, still make them feel good. Let's not always highlight, and again, I'm speaking to myself, let's not always highlight the 12, the 40, the 80, the 200. Let's not always highlight the people that hit 12K in 24 hours after joining. Let's talk about when somebody gets their very first customer. That is so exciting, you guys. And one thing that I love, Rachel and Taryn are both really good at this. Christy, you're really good at this. When you have a new promoter that comes in and it starts doing good pretty fast, you guys contact me and you're like, hey, make sure you add so-and-so. And you guys also will let me know sometimes, like, hey, so-and-so got their first customer. Would you mind messaging them? Or they just joined. Would you mind messaging them or reaching out to them? That is fantastic. So when you get a new promoter and they get their first customer, contact your upline and say, hey, would you mind messaging Christy? She just got her first customer and she's so excited. Okay, no. So that would be something, that's a really great way to reward people and show them, like, hey, I notice you and you're doing awesome. I don't do it with everybody, and I wish I could. I wish that I could know every single person and hopefully you guys that are 15s, especially 5%ers, as you grow, it's going to be crazy, and you can't possibly know every single person, but it is always important, I feel like, to be approachable, to be kind, to be never too big to notice when people are growing. And which is why I did the Zoom last night, for the top 10 people that I noticed are hustling, that are consistent, that are enrolling. But yeah, like Christy said, building people up and the new growers. But also notice the people that, like, in my level up resource team chat, I know not all of you guys are in there, and that's totally okay, because I started that when I was 12K. And then now we have the other page. But I know somebody in there wrote today about how they had a day one thriver and they were really excited. This particular promoter is an 80%er, and that's okay. And she's really excited about that. That person that's tried a sample after she told her no so many times, and now she's using the product and she's excited, she's posting about it. That's awesome. And we want to lift that person up and share it and be excited with them. Now, that person didn't get to 200K, but we're still just as excited for them, and we're shouting them out with the team and edifying them. So we don't want to smother the people that don't want it. So, and some people feel people out too. Some people are just, I think I drove that home enough. Make sure I got all these. You guys may have noticed, may or may not, probably not, noticed that my Facebook, I've been posting a lot differently lately. And I would say that the reason that I'm doing it is because I am aggressively going and connecting with new people on social media. So it looks like I'm not posting about Lavelle a lot. But the thing is I actually am, and I want to go back in a second, but I actually am posting about Lavelle. I'll post pictures of me with the DFT, or I'll post about whatever, success, not whatnot. But the thing is that I changed it from being public for my Lavelle posts to being friends only. That way when I friend request somebody, they go to my page and they see all this random coolish / relatable stuff that's maybe emotional or maybe inspiring or whatever, and they don't see Thrive. So they don't see that I'm trying to sell them on something, because otherwise they're like, oh God, here's another one. Here's another person who's trying to just add me so they can sell me. So that's what I've been doing. And then the other thing is that I will make those posts to friends, but I will often pull them off of my timeline. I don't want my timeline flooded. If somebody, any of my high school friends or whoever, it doesn't matter, somebody goes to my page because they're like, oh, I haven't seen what she's up to in a while, I'll have a couple things about Lavelle, but it's not DFT, shake, DFT, Lavelle shirt, this, that. It's not blasting Lavelle. Yes, they're my friends and they can see what's on my timeline, but I just hide the post from my timeline so it still shows up in news feeds. I'm still getting likes and I'm still getting comments, and I might leave it on my timeline for a few days, but then I might pull it off the timeline. So the picture's still there. It's still been posted. It's just not there if you go to my Facebook page. I'm not saying that that's what you guys need to do. I just want to keep you guys in the loop. If you're like, Deanna's never posting, and she talks about posting and how you need to be consistent, and she's not doing it. Well, I am. So I just kind of want to share what I've been doing lately. Okay, so we were talking about the 80s, 15. Oh, we were talking about getting so big that it's hard to know everyone. So I don't add everybody on Facebook. I don't, especially sidelines and stuff. I don't. If there's somebody in particular that I connect with, okay, cool. Whatever, we can offer something to each other and grow together. But downlines I want to add, but a lot of people are just here to they're not going to stick with it. And I only have so much space in my Facebook page. And again, I'm not saying you guys should do this. I'm actually not saying that at all. I'm just explaining. And it's hard to keep up with all the Facebook requests. I don't even get notifications that I get a request anymore, honestly. I don't know if that happens at a certain point when you have so many pending that they just don't even notify you. So if you guys have somebody and you want me to add them, please send me a message and tell them, hey, Deanna, would you add so-and-so? because I want to make sure that I add them and I give them the attention. And for a lot of you guys, I've done that. And in fact, I will message them at that time and I'll send them a voice memo. Hey, Christy, I just want to welcome you to the team. I'm one of your uplines. I'm really excited to have you on board with us. I just wanted to let you know if you need to reach out to anybody or have any questions, I'm always here to help. Don't hesitate to reach out. So that's basically the message I send them. And usually they're really excited and they write back and they say whatever their Thrive experience was. So it connects, and please do this with your own teams too. But as you grow, it does get harder. So with that being said, as we get bigger, I never want to be unapproachable. And that's something that I promised myself back in my last company. I don't want to be cliquey. I don't want to be unapproachable. I don't want to be unfriendly. If I am, let's say we're in this company for 10 years and there's dozens of 200Ks under me, I want everybody to be able to be like, I know that I can, and I mean, I hope that this is the case. I want everybody to know, like, I can contact Deanna and be like, hey, I'm at the conference and I don't know where to sit. I want everybody to feel like they belong, especially the people that have worked really, really hard to get there. So sometimes I think what happens is that people get so big, leaders get so big, and it becomes this like culture or something, and I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're left out. The first It Works event that I went to, that I had hit their VIP rank, and I had traveled to Atlanta for. It was the first event that I had actually traveled out of the state for, but to me it was a really big deal to be able to get there and have a meeting with the CEO. It was just the VIPs with the CEO in a private room, private cocktail party reception thing. And when I got there, it was so uncomfortable, you guys. And it wasn't intentional. Like, I don't think anybody did that intentionally. It's just people are so caught up with what they have going on. And you felt like I felt like, and it probably has to do with being an introvert and having anxiety in those situations too. You just like, where do I sit? Like, I don't know anybody here. All of these people I've looked up to for years felt like they were celebrities. And now, like, I actually went back up to my room in the hotel and cried. And the girl who I was with, she's a really good friend of mine. And she's like, Deanna, you have to get back down there. You have to. So let's not be unapproachable. There's actually one person who's a CEO's son who was like, hey, what's your name? Come sit with me. Like, I was a nobody. I felt like a nobody. And I had so much anxiety over that. And I don't want anybody to ever feel that way. If I see somebody hit 200K in my team updates, you bet those people are getting messages. Heck, if they hit 40K, 80K, like, everybody's important. So please, please make sure that you're always approachable to people. And I think a way to do that is by letting them know that you are available if they need help. Again, it does get hard and messages get lost and all of that stuff. I mean, probably most of you guys in here have sent me a message at some point that I didn't see that same day. And a lot of our teams too, by the way, while we're talking about messages, I know for a fact a lot of our teams feel like they, that in the group chats that they are sometimes ignored, they feel like, unless they are a producer and they're like, nobody pays attention to me. I've gotten messages about this in multiple teams in their chats, private messages, and nobody wants to answer my question. So I just left the chat because they only want to pay attention to the people who are producing and da-da. That is in their own mind, kind of like how we talked about the fat and the cellulite in the picture that my mom felt, or the fat that I felt I was in the picture that Samantha took of me, because it hit home with me. It was my own insecurity. So probably what's happening is you guys are all getting busy. You guys are all growing. There's multiple chats, whatever. Just make sure that your teams know you're always there. You just don't always see it right away. So let's do something to grow daily. For me personally, is Jennifer on this? Yay, Jen's on. Okay. So for me personally, I talked to her tonight. I said, thank you so much for inviting me to tonight's networking meeting, because, you know, something, I guess in life, just in general, we have this point of our life where we feel like, wow, I'm doing everything right. Everything's rolling. I've got the best family. I've got the best friends. I've got this great body or whatever. Maybe you don't have the great body, but whatever it is in your life, and you feel like everything's just going right for you right now. And eventually you get to a point and you're like, what happened? Like, how was that my life 6 months ago or a year ago or 5 years ago? And now I don't have any of that stuff, right? You feel like you don't. And so it's like stuff drips through the bucket. Like it just like slowly goes away. So initially for me personally, I was exercising all the time until I came to Laval. I was exercising 4 to 5 times a week at that point. I totally stopped when I came here for very good reason. Carissa, you're on. Hey. So, but also I was going to church regularly. I was doing all these things, and one by one, the things started dropping off and I stopped doing them. And so let's do something daily to grow. Like assess yourself when you look back and you say, maybe you're happy with your life right now, and that's great. And I hope that you guys are, but maybe there's some places that you feel like you're lacking. Maybe it's relationships, friendships, bonds, whatever, exercise. So for me personally, about a couple weeks ago, I started taking a walk a few times a week, like for an hour and a half. I started reading a book. I started going to church about a month and a half ago. I started going back again. I had just fallen off. I started cooking dinner, So what is it that you need to incorporate yourself into to help ground you to be a better maybe person or friend or leader, So because we can't fill other people from an empty cup. So what is it going to take to help fill your cup and get you on track, focused, driven, motivated? Am I speaking to anybody tonight? Okay, good.
You're talking to me, girl.
Okay, good. All right, so in regards to the growing, you guys, when was the last time that you hosted a local? How about a Zoom or a team training? Like we started doing, or I personally started doing the in-person team trainings. And Rachel's like, when are we going to do another one? And I'm like, I just feel like it's mundane. Like I don't want to go over the same stuff every time and waste people's time because they're taking time off work to drive there and be there. So if we're doing in-person team trainings, I want to make sure it's useful information that in a very good environment where people feel excited to be there. The energy's high, they're vibing with the other thrivers and making friends and whatnot. But you know what a good idea would be too is, and especially for that 80% of our teams that are just wanting to belong to something, let's do stuff like, let's do a paint night. Let's do a bowling night. Let's do a barbecue. And it's fun to talk about all that stuff, but to take the actual time to, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm putting this in my planner, and I'm making this happen. So creating that family environment, I will tell you guys, when I left It Works, so many people from my team messaged me and said, I was literally only hanging on because I didn't want to disappoint you. I created a family feel with that company, with my team, because it was something that took so long to build versus something that happened overnight and grew so fast. It was like people don't want to leave because they're really a part of a certain kind of bond and feeling. So let's create that for our teams, whether you're local in Orlando, you're in Tampa or California or Alabama or wherever you are. So what does that mean? You know, that's different for everybody. One time I had an awesome paint night. I threw it away now after I left the company, but we did the company's logo and one of those like wine and paint by instruction nights. And it was really, really fun. And then from there we came here and I had dinner catered at my house. It was all women. And I had dinner catered at my house. And then we had a sleepover and we played games. Like we played Cards Against Humanity and we had drinks. And then there was sleeping bags and blow up mattresses all over my house. And people were sleeping on the couch and in my bed. And it was a lot of fun. So doing stuff like that, it just takes energy and time to plan. So in regards to hosting the Zooms, and you guys are like, well, you're telling us to host Zooms, but you're not hosting the Zooms. So a lot of times what the Zooms are that I host, I feel like are very directly for certain teams. Either somebody's asking me to co-host a Zoom, or I reach out to a specific group like I did last night or like I did tonight. So they're just not always team-wide. And the reason for that, and I need to work on it myself, is because I feel like we have so many Zooms, whether it's either Brittany's Zoom or Danny's Zoom or whoever, and then especially you guys have them for your teams. And I just feel like, you know, yes, we are 15 and 5%ers and we want all of that, But the 80%ers maybe don't want all of that. And here's the thing that I need to fix myself is because I'm so worried about wasting people's time. I'm not feeding the people that are hungry for this. And the people that are hungry for this are the ones who are going to make up the majority of our income. And even though they're the minimum amount of people in our team, like they're the minimum, they make up the smallest percentage of our team. So we need to do it. I need to do it. I need to get over this whole, oh, I'm just going to repeat the same stuff that they heard last night. I'm going to repeat the same stuff they heard last week from so-and-so, or that I said last week. Last night on that Zoom with the top 10, you guys, they were very receptive to everything I said. And I told them, you guys are probably going to hear some of the same stuff that has either been taught to you by your leaders or that you've heard me say. And at the end of it, they're like, thank you so much. Somebody said, I really appreciate the repetition because everybody says it different, or you say it different than you did last week. And I pick something up differently from that. And it's so true. It brought me back to when I had first started in my first 2 years with It Works. And when I was really growing, I was going to a meeting every single week that somebody in my upline was hosting. And I would hear the same explanation for a product every single week, but I loved it so much because they would have somebody else explain it, and I would get something different from every person, and I would tweak the way I said it based on the different things I heard from them. So the repetition is actually important. So let's get, like me, I need to get out of my own head and feeling like I'm wasting people's time, or that I'm being just repetitive, or that they already know this information and I don't want to have a, and also I'm fearful of, what if I host a Zoom and only like 5 people come on because everybody thinks I'm wasting their time? Like, you guys have heard me say those words like probably 8 to 10 times since we started this Zoom. Clearly it's an issue that I have to look at in my, within myself. Let me just catch up on the chat real quick. Yeah, Rachel Parks, you had an event tonight. You had a team training in person and only 5 people showed up, but it turned out great. It was so much fun. And you know what, guys? There are going to be Zooms that nobody shows up. There are going to be locals that nobody shows up. It's going to happen, and that's okay. And again, like I was talking to somebody today about when you have that and nobody shows up and your team eventually comes to you and says, I'm feeling defeated, nobody's showing up to my events or my trainings, you can say, that's okay, that happened to me, and this is how I handle it. Or it was just me and so-and-so, like Christy, I know you and Tyler have had an event and nobody showed up to it. And that's okay, because you and Tyler got to create a better bond for a leader-promoter aspect. And that was helpful. Like, you guys understand each other better, I'm sure. I hope to resume. Yes, you want to host more Zooms. You'll find the 15% that are hiding and the 80% that are unsure. But also, you guys, we still need to feed the 80%. Sorry,
Hey, it's Rachel. I just got back in my room. Did you ask me something?
No, I was talking about your training tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I was like 20 feet away, and I thought I heard you say my name. I was like, crap!
I did say your name, but I was just saying how great it is that you did this in-person team training. 5 people showed up, but you still did it. You guys had a great time, and it's super...
Yeah. It really was. And, it was super stormy, so we were surprised that actually anyone came, and it was just super fun, like team bonding, and so many people learned a ton of stuff that they had never known, and that's the whole point, even if there's 2 people or 20 people.
Yep, I totally agree. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I'm on my last bit of notes here. You guys are like, hallelujah. So let me just look through my notes. Okay. So in regards to the 80-15-5 percentages and the desire levels, let's make sure that we're paying attention to, or less attention, let's pay less attention to levels and more attention to people. And make sure we're teaching our people, what is the word I'm looking for? testimonials over transactions. Like, let's make sure that we are focused on testimonials, because a lot of times we get caught up in transactions because we are trying to hit a goal or a rank or VIP or whatever it is. And the reason we got started in this probably wasn't because we ever thought that we'd be able to make $1,000 a month. It was probably because we really, really love the product and we wanted to help other moms feel as good as we feel. So make sure that and I'm not saying anybody's heart is in the wrong place, but sometimes we lead with the wrong mentality because we get so excited. We're like, oh my God, we're this close to 80K or whatever it is. So we need to know who is working in our teams and to acknowledge others and let them know that you know that they exist. I know I kind of went over that, but there was just another little note in here. You're never too big to be kind, and this is a family. So let's all, and I'm so talking to myself here, let's all try working on making this feel more like a family instead of a work environment, because nobody joined this to get ridiculed, to get beaten down, to have a boss over them. And you guys really probably didn't join to become a micromanager of a bunch of people. So let's figure out how we can do that and how we can work together. I just did that personality color test live in the resources page. And so a lot of you guys identified obviously with that and the different colors. But if we can come together and figure out how to use each other's strengths with those colors and do an event together, or maybe you don't really want to do it together, you just want to do it for your team, that's okay. I mean, I would love your help, and people look up to you. Let me say that. You are on this Zoom, and people are looking up to every single one of you guys. Christy reached out to me today, and she said, hey, I met this girl at a local, and she's not on our team. She's not a sideline on Dana's team or anything. She's just on a random team. And she reached out to Christy today for help. And I was like, yeah, girl. And she's like, I was kind of shocked because I didn't think I had anything to offer. Not that she didn't have anything to offer. She just didn't know that she had made an impact, I guess, is the better word to use. But you have. People want to be where you guys are. 12K is like the pinnacle. I think people think of, wow, 12K, that's where I want to be. I want to get that auto bonus. So you guys are there, and it's people that you don't even know that you are inspiring and you are want to be like you or want to be in your shoes. So make sure that we are holding ourselves to that level too. Like, you know, I think just the outside appearance, I'm not saying physical, but let's make sure that we are handling ourselves in a way that inspires other people to be better and do better and want to be like us. You know, if I'm going around just spreading hate or spreading like just nastiness, people are going to be a little turned off by that. Somebody who may have been inspired by me before may be turned off. Okay, good night, Danielle. But anyway, so that, and then you will find that people, so one of the It Works events, I was in a parking lot one day and somebody I actually brought my mom to the corporate office, and it was the very first time in years. So this was like year 3 or 4 there. And she had come and she had never supported me in the company before. Not that she would talk down. She didn't, nothing like that. But she just never bought product. She just never really grasped that this was actually legit. So I brought her to an event that was at the corporate office. And so we're in the parking lot and there's thousands of people there. And somebody's like, Deanna. And I turn around and this girl's like hustling up to me. And I'm like, I don't know who she is. Maybe she's on my team. I'm not sure. And to me, like initially it was like, oh my gosh, like who is this person? Like if somebody knows my name, that's pretty cool. And not that I'm on a high horse or anything like that. It's just really crazy because here I was, if you guys read my post tonight, I would find myself crying in bathroom in a social environment where there was a lot of people. I'm thinking of, and actually in Lake Forest, kind of like whatever, the clubhouse there was a wedding, whatever, some kind of engagement party, or it was a bridal shower. And I was literally in the bathroom there crying because I was so anxious because I was just so not confident. I didn't know how to have conversation with people. I was there alone. I didn't really know people there. The bride was the wife of my husband's friend, or soon to be wife. And so that's who I was. And I went from that to somebody, I inspired some stranger. She came up to me. She was from Maine. She had seen some live video I did on Facebook. She was inspired by it. She said she related to my story. She's a single mom, had gone through a death in her family or something, and she had seen that Zoom, if you guys know which, or that Facebook Live, if you guys know which one I'm talking about. But you don't know who you're going to touch, and people are truly looking up to you. And not that you want to be a celebrity or not that you want to be known or famous or anything like that. That's not what this is about, but it is about touching lives, and you guys have the platform to do that, and you guys are doing that. So please share your story, share your faults, be realistic, be somebody that people can relate to. All right, good night, Julia. Okay. Okay, last thing, and I kind of wanted y'all's feedback about it. I was thinking about, okay, when I first created the resources page, it was literally to help pull the scripts and all the resources that I had instead of sending them by email individually once I hit 200K and had the ability to do that. Then, and I said it wasn't going to be a rah-rah page. But lately, I have been posting stuff that's like motivational or whatnot. And I want to see what your opinions and your thoughts are. Like, should that page stay as it is now? Should we open it up to allow other people to post to it? Because I don't want people to think that, and I got to get out of my own head about what people think. I need to stop caring so much. But I don't really want people to think, oh, well, it's just Deanna can post in there, and stuff like that. And then also, I think even more, I would like feedback from you guys to see about doing a team page takeover, where somebody in our team, maybe it's a contest, maybe it's, and obviously I would be very selective. Like, I'm going to be cautious of what is posted or whatnot. But where somebody gets to take over the page for a day and other people get to hear that, like hear from that person and be inspired by their story or be inspired by a tip that they share or stuff like that. So I would love if you guys want to unmute yourselves, any questions, any thoughts about anything, any thoughts on that, and see what you guys think. And it doesn't have to be like a weekly thing. Like, I was initially thinking, oh, we could do team page takeover Tuesdays or something. But I don't think it should be a weekly thing. I should think it should be like something that people look to as like a great reward or a great incentive for being either top PPA, or maybe it's somebody who gets top sales that week or whatever.
Hey, it's Rachel.
Hey.
Hi. Okay, so I love all of the different pages for different reasons. And I love your page because of the fact that it is exactly what it is, that there is not so much traffic and I don't have to scroll to find stuff. And it's not like welcome this promoter and congrats on VIP 800 and all of this stuff. Like, I like that it's just information. And so I think that we could, because when you first started the page, I know we sort of talked about it, and I think that you could still have it just like that and still do the takeover stuff and select somebody, but it is just them maybe doing one live, because that's recorded and then it's in the page. So then you're still having that other leader's expertise, or whatever topic we decide on for that person or whatever, and it's going to be in the page forever, but it's still just a resources page. And that's why I love that page in particular. Like Dana's page, I go to tag in the, in the 2 or 3 videos. Danny's page, I tag in some of the lives that they do, stuff like that. So I love it the way it is. That's just me.
That's really good feedback. Thank you.
Welcome.
And that's kind of the intention of it initially. So I think that that's really awesome. I'm glad that it still maintains that. It's easy to find stuff. I see what you guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, I like the idea of the person who gets chosen, they go live that day, or maybe they're not comfortable going live. Like, that's a perfect place to go live and break that comfort zone, because you're with a bunch of people who care about you and, whatever. They're not there to criticize you. Or they can share, like, post a tip or their top 3, like, to-do list daily or whatever, how they got to whatever VIP 800 and whatnot. So,
right, like sort of how we did the what do we used to call it? Not happy hour, but when we did Team Champs last year.
Yeah, the Power
Why can't I
hour.
think of it? Yeah, power hour. Like something like that, but not every night. Like you
Right.
said, one person per week. So it's not getting inundated with all of these welcome posts and congrats posts, which is great. But we don't need all of those on 4 pages. And it's so hard to like navigate the page for new people when they're like, what is all this? You know, when it's just like, boom, scripts, videos, go to this, go to that. So I love it for that. And then, like we said, the one person per week to do a live on a specific topic, and then it's going to be there forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Anybody else have anything they want to say about either the page or about this Zoom? Any questions, concerns, maybe things that you're struggling with? Anything, open mic. Anything?
Oh,
Rhonda, are
I
you?
figured it out.
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay.
I was trying to talk and I didn't realize you had to let it go. So for y'all, when y'all host your locals, what's the best way that y'all found to get non-thrivers there? Like Deanna mentioned, I've had 3 locals now and nobody but the promoters showed up, which ended up being great. We've made a lot of progress as far as how to grow our teams, and it's growing, but I want to get non-thrivers there. So what do y'all do?
So the reason I'm not answering this is because I already talked to Christy about my ideas, which I'll share with you guys too. Anybody else want to unmute yourselves? In the meantime, I told her the best ones that I've seen that have been the most productive, if it's geared towards like enrolling new people versus having a local that's more of a social hour, I would say the most productive one was Julia's, who has hopped off since, but she signed like 4 to 6 people at that very first local she hosted. It was in a more of a like professional type setting. It was still comfortable and it was still casual. It was in her clubhouse at her condo apartment place, and everybody was invited there on Facebook. She invited the max amount of people that could be there, and then people just trickled in, and she told everybody that she had art for them to take home, a special goodie bag with a custom art because she's an artist, and they got to take that painting home. So what happened is it started out like, okay, people start trickling in. She had wine, she had regular drinks, and then she had some little finger foods like cheese, whatever. And she had these like little tables set up, so people just started gathering and sitting at the tables. And 3 people got up and one talked about the product at first. The first person talked about the product, the 3 steps, and why you take them like that. And then they shared their personal story as far as what has happened with their body and what the product has done for them. The next person got up, talked about why they started with Lavelle initially for the product. Then they decided to switch over to promoter. And this is, hey, by the way, if you're interested in making extra income, this is what that looks like. Then the third person that got up went and shared their story. She happened to have like 1 or 2 people there that were already customers. And after the third person shared their personal testimony on the product and their success in the business, we asked, is anybody else here using Thrive that would like to share their story? So that person, one of the customers, stood like wherever they were in the room, and he's like, hey, I've actually been using Thrive for X amount of time, and this is what it's doing, and I'm a customer with Julia. Like he was a customer. So having a customer there, I feel like for that third-party validation where they're not trying to make any money off somebody was really cool. So that doesn't really answer how to get people there other than she put the Facebook invite out there. She invited every single person that she could on her Facebook until Facebook wouldn't allow her to invite anybody else anymore. But she signed people on the spot there at that local. Anybody have any tips for Christy?
I think just inspiration, like Deanna was saying, just the customers alone. I've been to, people that aren't even on our teams, locals, and they've had, for example, Jordan. We went to their local in Orlando, and they had John Howell there, which was like brand new. He just started probably that same week, and just the inspiration that he got off of it, and he loved it and everything. So I feel like it's not always about non-thrivers, but just having those new promoters as well, the newbies that haven't hit really VIPs yet, or just getting them in there and just inspiring them, telling stories, I think that really goes a long way too. I mean, it's hit or miss really with non-thrivers. You know, you post it, you tell them about it, but I mean, you can't force anyone to go. But I mean, we haven't really had too much success on having the non-thrivers, but we have thrown some locals that have had some promoters that started, and they've grown a lot, you know, just from inspiration. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's really good. I agree. And I think that even if you have a local and you don't have new potentials come there or any potentials come there, it's just current thrivers or promoters, whatever, it's building that family atmosphere where they feel like they belong to something. So they just want to be there just because they want to feel a part of something that's going on, that 80%.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I was able to join in for a little bit, so I'm glad I was able to be here. You know, in the last couple of months, I've taken a lot of time researching and looking into, you know, how other leaders do things and just getting a big, broad idea of how just MLMs in general work, because I was uneducated. I've never done MLM before in my life. And one of the things that was brought up was locals. And so that's why I'm going to comment is the whole point of locals is to inspire and show and teach as many new people as possible. So when you have, let's say, 2 or 3 promoters that just signed up, the last thing you want to do is have a local for just those 3 people, because you're showing and you're telling those 3 people, it's a comfort. You can be here. We're going to be really close to each other. And don't worry, you don't have to really invite anybody. We're just going to learn together. But that's not the point. The point is to get 3 separate locals out of those 3 new promoters. Each of those people, if they have a separate local, they're not going to want to just show up to their own house or to that upline's house by themselves. They're going to be obligated to invite everybody they know because they don't want to be embarrassed, right? Friends, family, cousins, anyone you know, neighbors. Hey guys, I'm going to have a get together. We're going to talk about this new awesome thing I just tried. I'd love to share it with you. How about you come over? That's how you get so many people times, you know, 1 person times 5, that's 15 instead of, you know, those 3 people showing up at one house and they may just bring themselves or they may just bring 1 person. That makes sense? So that's kind of the approach that myself and my team are going to be taking. We're just educating ourselves more on the product itself because all of us looked around and were like, yeah, we know how to thrive. We know a lot about thrive and 3 steps, but we don't know a whole lot other than that. So when we're presenting to all these people, we want to make sure we're educating them and getting them excited about thrive in a whole different experience. So I just wanted to kind of comment on that local because, you know, I was just talking to Elizabeth and, you know, she's had that same problem where she's signed a couple different people and, you know, they don't want to re-invite because they're not put on the spot. They're asked to come to the same house where they were just at learning the same thing. So there is no initiative to really try to invite anybody because they're in their comfort zone. They're in their shell. You say, you know what? So we're gonna have a get together in your honor. You're the host. Let's do it at your house or my house, but we're gonna invite all your people. And you do that with all your new people, not gather all the ones you just signed all in one spot. It's a lot easier that way because you only have to say it once, but easier is not the better way out, right? When you're getting 15 versus 3, that's a big difference with who you're sharing with.
Totally.
So go ahead.
I think that you make a great point. I think it's a great idea. And it reminds me of what Rachel and I used to do with It Works. It was called a launch party to help get those people started. I don't really like the idea of calling it a party. Some people love that. Those are your blues. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. People are expected like, okay, I mean, all the points that you made, I don't need to reiterate, but I think you did an awesome job. And I think it's a fantastic idea.
Can I say something really quick?
Please.
Okay. Like kind of what she's saying, the way I'm visioning it is kind of really similar to like what you would do with like maybe like Pampered Chef, something like that. You know how you just constantly go to different houses, and although, you know, we're not kind of we call them locals, but they call them like Pampered Chef parties. So where they go to different homes and they're doing like a production or a food show or whatever they're doing to sell their products. It's kind of the same aspect in a way. It's like you're not inviting just those 3 people over and over and over to your house. It's like when you have those parties, you're having new people being invited, and then they're more or less signing a party. So it's constantly growing that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like a good way to think about it. It's kind of like a Tupperware party or a Pampered Chef party or something like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it introduces it to new people. And especially when they first start and they contact their not their chicken list, their chicken soup list, like if they were sick, who would I contact to bring me soup because I can't get out of bed? So contacting those people and then contacting your friends, coworkers, everybody else and saying, hey, I just started this thing and I'm really excited about it. I really want to share it with you. Would you please just come over so I can tell you about it on this day? And so it's that simple. But it's also people typically that they're probably not going to be super embarrassed to talk to in front of. And it's a great way to help break that ice. And not only for them to hear you explain it to other people so that they can duplicate that in the future, but that they can, what you're doing is duplicatable. So they can do that and their promoters will follow their lead and whatnot. And the ball just trickle effect or snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have anything? No?
No, but I want to thank you for the Zoom.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for being on. Sorry, I know it's lengthy. It's been an hour. But I think that we covered a lot of information and I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are my 15s and my 5s and I want you to know that you're appreciated. I pray for you guys. I pray for the new people coming in that God would send the right people into my business and into your business as well. And if there's something in particular that you need, I want to be there for you. So, but I don't know, just like your team, I don't know if you guys need help unless you reach out to me and you say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or hey, so-and-so on my team needs help with this. So you guys have to come to me because I can't guess. And your promoters need to know the same thing too. Please share that with your teams. You guys, if you need help, I need you to come to me. Like, I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about you. And if for some reason you're not available or you feel like you can't help with them with that particular struggle, send them up. But I don't pay attention to levels. You never know at what point those levels will compress, even if it's level 16. I can have 8 people drop off and that level 16 now becomes my 8. I don't care about levels. Yeah, I need to spend my time wisely, and you guys need to spend your time wisely, especially as you grow bigger and hit the larger ranks. But let's treat everybody like a person and not a profit. Okay, transactions over or testimonials over transactions, same thing. So, all right, thank you guys again for being you. Thank you for being on tonight. Love you guys. Bye.
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 Bye.